obscure classical references to the craziest pop Hollywood references in one speech, and he wrote a play. Harry was one of the most admired writers as a poet. He was the poet of Cino, but he was given Carnegie Hall to do a play in. A tremendous tribute to him. An off-Broadway hits Carnegie Hall. And he wrote a play about an amphetamine cult that magically revives Christ just so they can crucify him again on stage.
Well, that's practice.
Pretty much kill that. But his speech, well, like in that, says, go, and the high cobra priestess of the amphetamine cult says to an acolyte, go and see if it is true that our altar's supply of the sacred white amphetamine powder is running low, but hurry back. Being alone ain't what it used to be. Some writers have that. You either have it or you don't. People like Lanford and Sam and Harry and Tom.
But so that difference, I mean, when I think about playwrights trying to gain access to theaters now, there's like 6 people reading the plays. They're vetted, there's marketing discussions, there's fundraising, but it sounds like in a way nobody was minding the store, or the man who was just wanted the freest writers he could find.
Joe was running a coffee house.
Did he read the plays?
Sometimes he did, but just as often not. If a writer's personality or director's personality impressed him, and he felt they would bring something exciting to the stage, he had other things to do. Right. But of course he read some plays.
But it was personal.
No. His coffee house, his floor, he had the right to decide what went on. But once he saw that writers like Lanford, actors like Neil Flanagan, who created the role of Lady Bright, directors like Marshall Mason, once he saw that they were definitely going to bring something wonderful to the stage, not that once in a while there wasn't a bad or weak or second-rate show from these people, but it didn't stay that way for long. More questions, please. Yes, Andy.
You once said that if Joe Cino had owned a bowling alley, you all would have been professional bowlers. Yeah. So was there a synergy of sorts in that location that you just all were there and you all just kind of learned from each other?
Well, as I said, at that moment in time, a place where art and sex and intelligence were accepted and valued as important elements of life. It was Joe who accepted us as we were, and whom we desperately wanted to like us more and love us more. I think we were all, everybody has egos, everybody has ambitions, everybody has vanities, but you wanted Joe to love you and love your work and want you there. There was no money, there was mostly no fame or notoriety, there was no satisfaction except the response you got from the audience, seeing your vision realized on stage, and Joe saying, got another one for us?
And what did Joe want?
You'd have to ask him. Yes.
Were there any women really that tried to have a voice as a playwright? Was it just
Clarice Nelson, and Edie Laurie, and Deonda Prima, and Irene Fornez and Barbara Guest. From the Cino, I think only Deonda Prima went on to much fame beyond that, but Judson Church, Irene Fornez, and Yvonne Rayner did a lot over there.
Did they seem like they had a harder, was it tougher for them to break through, or just because there's not as many major names, female playwrights as
I don't know. I do not know why.
But was Joe open to?
Yeah.
He didn't
put
care.
Him on. He gave him stage like he did anybody else. I don't know why there were people always asking, well, why weren't there any black playwrights there? As far as I know, no black playwright ever came in with a play. It wasn't that Joe was going out looking for anything. It came in, and he vetted it, as it were, from what came in. Oh yeah, the last play done at the Cino was John Dupree was playing Monuments about people at the Cino.
It was actually why we decided to do plays from Cino and La Mama, so that we could include Adrienne Kennedy and Irene Fornes and Megan Terry. Although Megan Terry's play was created with the Open Theater, but it was done at La Mama, because the Cino list was mostly, predominantly men in that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I could send you the list, you can see how many women
Yeah.
there are. Irene and Megan, Irene and her lover Susan Sontag were famously patrons and partial to the Cino. They used to come in all the time. I don't know.
Did different playwrights have different, and we kind of said that earlier, but so it's like if it was a Sam Shepard play, those audiences might be a little bit different than, say, coming to see.
Oh, maybe, yeah, sure, but basically, mostly I think people were coming to see the Cino.
There were just Cino groupies.
Yeah, and La Mama groupies, and you know, a lot of the first plays of La Mama in the first couple of years were from the Cino. They moved over there. But yeah, sure, but like I said, Harry Katukas and Tom Ian, we had only to put their picture in the window, and we'd fill up. The biggest crowds we ever had for a play were by a man named Jeff Weiss, who did most of his first plays at La Mama, but he wanted to do a play at the Cino. And he came over, and I was doorman, and that was the first play where we absolutely had to have a clipboard with reservations, because people were lined up in the snow wanting to get in because Jeff had such fans. We did 2 shows every night, 3 shows on Friday and Saturday, 9, 11, and 1. And one night, I had filled the place in, because I tried to let everybody in that I could, and I had people sitting on the cigarette machine, and sitting in the scene loft, and sitting on top of a light booth, and crowded at tables, and standing as far as possible. And it was just as full as it could get, and the actors still get up onto and off of the stage. And I closed the door, these people were still trying to get in, and I told them, I said, look, I've got you down here, you've got a number, go away, go where it's warm, come back, you know, I'll let you in. But they wouldn't leave, and when the show was over, the people inside, the doors burst open, and it was so hot in there, they all started pouring out, and the audience waiting outside started pouring in, and people were getting hurt. You know, it was dangerous. So I took my clipboard and started hitting people in the head, calling animals out. And I threw 3 houses, the exiting one, the waiting one, and the next one. I threw them off of Cornelius Street. It was only a block long. I threw them off. I beat them out. Nobody was going to treat our artists that way. And I'm standing there, and Joe came through the wreckage inside the door. And I said, I'm sorry, Joe, but they're beasts, they're animals. And Joe said, no, you did right, Bob. We went after you with the respect that Jeff's art deserves. You did right, you threw them out. We don't need them. We don't need those people. We'll do it for the walls. He turned and walked away. And I put down my clipboard and ran out and dragged 70 people.
Well,
I think I'm telling you funny war stories. Are there any serious things, Jesse, that I might have some good things?
I'd love to hear more about your early journey. You said it was flunking, and then something felt right about theater.
Of mine? Oh, well, I was, I went to, like I say, I was, my folks were migrant laborers. We moved around a lot. I never went to one school for a whole year till my senior year of high school. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm typical. There were Yale graduates working at the Cino as well, so there's like 2 ends of it. But there were, in a way, my path is typical because there was no path. So I graduated from high school in Roswell, New Mexico, where we finally went in my senior year of high school. I went for a whole year. Then I went to college in a town called Portales, which I'm sure was a perfectly fine college. They just weren't ready for somebody as unsocialized as I was. I didn't know how to relate to people, make friends. concentrate or anything to focus. And after 2.5 years, I just left. And so then I went into the Air Force because it seemed like a good idea at the time. It's 1960. And they gave me a test and asked me if I would enlist for 8 years, so they would because they wanted to teach me Russian and Chinese and make me a translator. Okay. And then they found the love poem from me in another airman's pocket and kicked me out. And so then I decided, after that and a few more contretemps, I decided everybody else can't be crazy. It must be something wrong with me. And I presented myself to the state insane asylum, and by law, if you presented yourself, they had to take you in for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later, to the second, they kicked me out saying, "There's nothing wrong with you, just move to a bigger town." I happened to go to the Summer Stock Theater and stop in New York. Did I answer your question? But I think mine may be an extreme of one way of getting into Cino, and other people, again, I had no ambitions, and other people who came to Cino were accomplished professionals who had studied and learned their craft in schools and in groups, and came there to develop careers. So people came from all over. It's the variety that is characteristic of the place.
I'm always interested in hearing about the journey that goes into something.
Well, that was pretty much it.
So this is a ridiculous question, but does it feel, it sounds so fated. It sounds like you had this calling, and you were called to this corner of the world by accident, but on purpose.
Well,
how does it feel?
Well, everybody, especially as you get older, wonders about that very aspect of life. What made this happen and not this? And I'll tell you a sort of recent events. I quit theater 1990 and moved to LA. And I was out there vegetating till about 4 years ago. Some young people who had read some of my plays in school looked me up and talked me into being in one of their plays. And among the things I had to do in the play was sing a little song. Well, I'd always been told I was a terrible singer, don't quit your day job, Bob, you can't sing. But I could sing a little song in a play. So I sang, and to my and their great surprise, I got a standing ovation. And it seems that somewhere in the last 25 years in the shower, I had developed singing. People were paid to come here. And so since then, this last 4 years, I've been singing and writing songs for myself and doing one-man concerts and things all over LA.
Will you sing a song for us?
No.
Come on, Robert. Come on.
Well, no, I'm not going to sing the whole song, just the first stanza. That I thought of this as you were speaking earlier. I'm not warmed up or anything. In a tiny basement, out of grace and self-effacement, Ellen made La Mama etc. It started too high. Made it for the playwright, not dictating what we may write. So we played La Mama etc. But cops misunderstood her. Couldn't comprehend what could her draw for all us hungry young men be. So she moved us to a loft then, capable as Laura Croft then, where her artist spoke unbrokenly. I always start too high. In stretch pants and big hoop earrings, shows announced which trounced propriety that female A-bomb named La Mama etc. Woo!
Watch through it. Very
Thank
good.
you all for coming. We're here next Saturday night.